The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or Internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Okay, welcome back. And as I have said for years now, the situation around the world, and especially at home, is becoming more severe and crisis-oriented all the time. Currently, the number one story in America, and to a large degree, it extends beyond our borders. This is an issue in Clark County, Nevada, that I think most of you have heard by now. Cliven Bundy's ranch. The feds and the BLM, with specificity, have decided that they want to take that land. To take that man's land that he has ranched for generations. They're going in there and taking his cows. They are going to evict him. It is the first step in land grab in Nevada. It will occur all over the country. This is just step one. It's a domino thing. Now, what's really going on here is an issue that I think is far more important than a simple land grab by the BLM. I want you to remember, let's back up a little bit. How many rounds of ammunition have various federal government agencies purchased? DHS, the IRS, even the U.S. Post Office has purchased ammunition and weapons. Billions of rounds, hollow point ammunition. And when you ask them, if you get an answer at all, they say it's for target practice. Well, that's bullshit. It's not target practice at all. It's to kill Americans. This government has aligned itself with abject evil. And what we're seeing in Clark County, Nevada, at the Bundy Ranch, is not too far out of line with what we watched in Kiev, where the Western powers, the same people who have sent the BLM agents, federal agents, snipers, no, they're not agents or snipers, they're killers. They've sent killers to the Bundy Ranch. They've surrounded the home. They've surrounded much of the ranch. They have total control over it. And they have weapons. They have tripods. They have snipers' rifles. All this to do something that they have no legal right to do. Cliven Bundy's son was tasered yesterday, could have died. American law enforcement now have been responsible for the deaths of over 500 Americans with tasers. They are deadly weapons. This is a very bad story, and it could get worse. There are apparently thousands, if you can believe the YouTube videos, of Americans, patriots, who are going to the area to lend their support. They are calling themselves patriots. Some are calling themselves militia members. They're going armed. This has all the confrontation potential of the worst outbreak of government violence against the people that I have ever seen in my lifetime. The potential is there. The cows are being stolen. They're being separated from their day-old and week-old calves. The calves are going to die without their mothers. The bonding, of course, is crucial in all animal life, and they are taking these cows and separating them. They're idiots. They don't know what they're doing all the way around. But the potential, I think, is clear. Look at Kiev, the snipers. You know the story now. They tried to blame it on the Russians. Turns out it wasn't the Russians at all. It was Western money hiring mercenary snipers to go in there and kill people. In Donetsk right now, there are non-Ukrainian military people wearing camo fatigues that do not fit any of the Ukrainian military wardrobe. They're armed, they're there, and their job, obviously, is tomorrow is the deadline to evict, one way or the other, obviously the other, the Russian-speaking and pro-Russian patriots in Donetsk who have taken over the Ukrainian government buildings there, a couple of them anyway. So you've got killers in Ukraine, hired killers. You've got killers here in Clark County, Nevada, hired killers, because they're all getting paid. And they're going in there ready, willing, and able to do a Ruby Ridge, a Waco. They're ready to pull a bullet, put a bullet through the head of a young woman, an old man, an old lady. They don't care. They're just doing their job. Who are these people? They're not Americans. They are not Americans. They grew up in this country, but they're not one of us, or they would never be involved with this kind of work. Our first guest is our friend and colleague of many years, Gerald Celente, the master of trends. And I know that Gerald has much to say about this. In a minute, I'm going to ask him if I can play a 3-minute clip from the Moapa Valley Town meeting in which a rancher made one of the really great 3-minute patriot speeches I've ever heard. Gerald, welcome back to the program.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jeff.
This is very predictable. You saw this potential long ago. It is real. That man and his family is, in fact, they are surrounded by killers. That's what it is. They're not negotiators, they're killers. And when you see these cops, these shaved-headed punks, these bullies, 200-pound punks, anywhere from 20 to 45, 50 years old, some of them fat, slovenly, with their guns and their canine dogs and their tasers, ready to kill. We've seen it how many times in this country in the last 5 to 10 years? Too many to count. Every week we see more and more police brutality. And brutality is a polite word. These are police executions is what they are in many cases, and it's not getting any better. All right, Gerald, your turn.
Well, this is a trend that was predictable, and it was predicted, and not by me, but by many others, that a lot of these fellows are veterans from the Iraq and Afghan war. And they were taught brutality at levels that we hadn't seen before.
Right.
Abu Ghraib, does anybody forget that one? Of course we forgot it. Hey, I think they hear that pinger.
Right.
How many? It was going on over a month now.
Yeah, ping pong. Ping pong.
There's attention deficit disorder. So and as we've been writing in the TrendsJournal, and not only us, even the Wall Street Journal, about the militarization of America's police force. And there's this one now on YouTube about this piece of armor that they got in a city in Washington State.
MRAP. It's a big MRAP. It weighs 10 tons or something. It's a Vietnam wannabe, but taken up to the Iraq War level. I mean, this thing can withstand mines and IEDs and all that.
And if there's a shooting at a school, we could safely... I mean, you listen to these guys, they're out of their minds. And like you said, when you look at these people, who they are, it's a lot of guys with a bad attitude. And matter of fact, I'm going to send you a clip from one of our Trends in the News that we did following the Ukraine incident where they, you can't make this up, this Svoboda party, the prime minister of, the PM of, not prime minister, a PM, a parliament member, that's ahead of, quote, free speech, going into the television station and pushing this guy all around. You know that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a self-defense video on that. What you do if the fights usually start with a push. Anyway, and then you see them again this week, and they're disrupting someone speaking that they don't like that they're saying at the Ukraine Parliament. The same guy, the ponytail guy, who's the head of free speech, leading the charge.
Yeah.
And again, these guys are only tough when they got a lot of other guys behind them.
Yep.
And so what's going on with the Bundy incident? Look what just happened in West Virginia. They poisoned the Kanawha River.
Yeah.
Look what's going on in North Carolina with that other coal ash thing. Look what's going on all over with these derailments of petrol, virtually wiping out cities and poisoning how much. I mean, nobody's head rolls. Look at the bankers that have stolen trillions from us.
Trillions. Look at the fracking. Everywhere you look now, they're fracking. Frack. The country is fracked, and everywhere they frack, the water goes bad. The groundwater goes bad. The aquifers go bad. Well, I've got a video running where the woman goes outside, turns on her outside tap, holds up a cigarette lighter, and the water ignites. It burns. The water burns. So, okay, you're 100% correct. It is unbelievable. And we don't pay attention to these things. We accept them as some kind of normalcy in this society. That's the weirdest part.
Yeah, and the part is that it's screw the little people. These guys only get tough with us. How about getting tough with John Corzine? How about getting tough with
Johnny McCain? How about some of these criminal lunatics that are up there running around with their egos on their sleeves? For the future? Do you know how to navigate? Enough to make you sick. It makes me sick.
So this is just an incident of more. How about the cops tackling a young girl for jaywalking because they didn't hear her? It's one after another. Look at the Boston Marathon. The cops going door to door without warrants.
Yeah.
Searching people's homes and making them come out with their hands up.
Yep.
I mean, why should this be a surprise? I said this in the beginning of the 2008 too big to fail baloney, that it's fascism. It's the merger of state and corporate powers. It's not capitalism. There's no such thing as too big to fail in capitalism. It's fascism. How many more incidents do people need to know? How much more evidence do they have to have? I have to tell you, I'm getting tired of repeating the same thing over and over again. The only thing that changes are the lyrics. The song is the same.
Same melody. Change the lyrics. You got it, 100%. Here's a little clip from the Moapa Valley Town Board meeting regarding the Clive Bundy Ranch incident. Now, this is a rancher talking. And this is very, very, very good to hear. Here we go.